whispering so incoherently that I'm forced into immediate reading.
When humans rose up against the thinking machines that had enslaved them.
Terminator spinoff opens with narration over a futuristic robot battle. Wait a minute, what show is this?
When war ended and all thinking machine technology was banned.
You know what would be cooler than telling me about the end of the robot wars? Showing me the end of the robot wars. Also shows guilt-tripping me with a ton of expositional narration, all because it knows there's less than a 1% chance I've read a Dune book written by the wrong Herbert. Jeez, what's the point of living in the future if you've got to walk through Arctic tundras?
Assigned to the great houses to help them sift truth from lies. But those who held power were inherently driven by violence and greed.
Wow, you mean the ruling elite who created a sisterhood of covert psychics to help them secretly maintain dominance weren't entirely on the up and up? Huh, ironic that you didn't see that coming.
Mother Akella embarked on a secret project. She wanted to breed better leaders.
Siding with nature in the nature versus nurture debate. Also painting a future where certain organizations still push an agenda of, well, Vader and Hitler did have some good ideas.
She amassed a vast genetic archive. She would use it to foster the right royal unions and cultivate rulers we could control.
You know, this feels like a roundabout way of doing exactly what they were already created to be doing anyway, right?
That is why, in her final moments, she called for me.
By the old gods and the new, I know we've seen this already, but this relentless lore dump has been going on for almost 5 minutes. We've covered a robot war, a brief summary of Harkonnen history, the origin of the Sisterhood, advanced eugenics, a terminal illness, and when will it end? Any decent dungeon master knows to ease you in with a bar brawl first. Thinking that summoning the poster child of the Dune franchise will grant some immediate goodwill, which is even more disappointing when you realize it's doing the actually memorable Emily Watson a huge disservice.
We have to prepare. How? By putting one of ours on the throne.
Okay, hear me out. It's Game of Thrones, but it's in space. Nah, I think people are getting tired of that. Okay. Hear me out again. It's Star Wars, but with more politics. Sold!
We must keep pushing the boundaries of what it means to be human.
Thinking a funeral is ever the right setting for your TED Talk.
That is why Mother Akella chose me to lead.
Did she? She told you to protect the sisterhood, but you don't have to be the leader to do that. Sometimes being the leader makes it too easy to lose your head in all the politics. Just ask Ned Stark.
Ever since you arrived, you and your sister Tula, you've thought too highly of yourself.
A pair of women with confidence, willpower, and self-esteem? What is this witchery? Strike them down immediately.
A new skill I've been honing.
I hope we get a bit more explanation behind the origins of the voice. I mean, I'd love to know why an organization who came up with an intricate language of hand gestures would also come up with the most obnoxiously unsubtle way of asserting their will.
And I will, if you bend.
Jessica Barden isn't asking me to bend to her in this scene.
What do we do?
Sisterhood above all.
Thanks, sister. We all love a platitude, but specifically, what do we actually do with the dead body? Also, what's she planning to do with the zealots who followed Dorothea? Do they die too? Sisterhood above all, as long as you agree with Valia, right? Hey, team, how far before Game of Thrones' House of the Dragon set? I think it's like 200 years or something. Well, we're doing a prequel too, but we don't want people to think we're ripping them off. It, 10,000 years should do it.
Excuse me, Sister Avila.
My cringe-o-meter says that's not how excuse me works. You say those words when you're the one who has to leave. When you want to dismiss someone else, you say something like, that'll be all, or I'm very busy, or get out of here, this is supposed to be my close-up.
Lying is among the most sophisticated tasks a brain can perform.
People who claim they understand Inception. Title of my sex tape? Are we saying that in 10,000 years, they're still using exactly the same goofy personal shield tech with zero improvements or workaround for the I can kill you as long as I do it slowly exploit?
Well, if you like barren landscapes and minimalism, you'll be very happy.
The one-line pitch for the entire show somehow makes it into the episode.
Your issues on Arrakis will be a thing of the past, and spice will flow.
Yay, my Dune bingo card is complete. Honestly, I'm quite impressed they waited a full 20 minutes before getting through Atreides, Arrakis, sandworms, and spice.
Your issues on Arrakis aren't going away.
Could we see some of those issues, please? You know, the Dune part of Dune Prophecy.
Trying to make a fool of me.
Discount Captain Picard is indeed a fool if he thinks he can't be heard from 5 feet away.
Very well, you have a deal.
He already had a deal. What he did here was renegotiate part of said deal. I guess you don't have to be all that smart to be the Emperor in this timeline.
Your mind and body must be within your control.
Which means martial arts montage, for some reason. I know she just explained it, but I'm calling her explanation dubious. Curb stomping people just doesn't seem like it would be handy for their job. That's all I'm saying.
I slit his throat in his sleep. Then I went home and did the same to my parents.
The looks on your faces.
Were they supposed to be trying to tell if Discount Arya was lying? None of the sisters did that finger-tapping, pupil-dilating thing. If they weren't trying to see if she was lying, what's the point of this story?
The boy is 9. Every year before he comes of age is mine to do with what I will. I'd make him younger if I could.
Aw, ew.
What is it, Kieran?
There's a soldier here from Arrakis.
Kieran is de facto pronoun gaming here so that he can goose the tension with a name that is important to everyone other than me.
His story is true, Your Majesty. Or at least he believes it to be.
This lie detector talent is significantly less impressive if it can be fooled by what people believe the truth is. For example, some people genuinely believe they liked how Lost ended and are therefore by definition lying. These prophecies are like someone telling you their dreams, but edited by whoever made the videotape from The Ring. So congrats on finding a shortcut to making me creeped out and disinterested all at once.
We had no way of knowing what we would discover. A child held captive for years.
Okay, I'm confused. I thought they were breeding royals, not co-opting orphans. How can there be so much exposition and yet still so much I don't understand? And I'll say this about the show. I'm digging the sets. Not enough to take off a sin, but just enough to make me wish I was watching Dune Prophecy cribs instead.
There was a time when you took my views seriously.
Was that before or after the person with actual superpowers turned up?
Acolyte bonds are forged in fire. They last a lifetime.
I mean, unless your fellow acolyte is about to destroy a genetic database, then to hell with your bonds. They get the knife. Oh boy, is it a T-Rex? Please let it be a T-Rex. Although, knowing our luck, they'd probably just discuss it to death. Also, letting a ship get this close to your school without warning or announcement. Aren't you guys like a super secret religious order of spies? How does an approaching ship catch you off guard?
What I saw was no ordinary nightmare.
Being skeptical of another sister's vision when you yourself rely heavily on visions to craft your plans and schemes for the entire sisterhood. Ignoring inconvenient truths is how you get an Arrakis, Reverend Mother. I'm laughing at this close-up because it looks like he only just realized what marrying his daughter to a 9-year-old actually means. It's as if he's thinking, shh, I didn't realize he was going to look 9 years old.
So it is blind obedience you want.
Being surprised when your older sister, who killed another sister to get her job, wants total obedience from all around her. You shouldn't need visions of the future to see that one coming.
So what do? You don't actually have to speak?
Kids. The fact that pomegranates need 0 alterations to look like space fruit.
Whale fur. The finest in the known universe.
Furry whales. But I don't think shape-shifting robots are in keeping with our established aesthetic. Wasn't here, bozo. We've only managed 2 successful Dune movies, and I'm not even including that weird one with Sting in the 80s. Do you know how many Transformers movies there are? 7. 7 Transformers movies, bub. This must be the key to their success.
That technology is forbidden!
A technology that almost brought about the extinction of human life, but is somehow undetectable and allowed within inches of the Emperor and Empress.
Princess Inez, step aside.
For what? He's just a kid. Go after his father. I'm pretty sure the kid didn't build the thing in his garage.
After all our training, the princess will just stroll in here as an acolyte. How's that fair?
She's a princess. She's never known fair.
Sister Emmeline would be a sincere at monarchy sins.
Your Majesty, are you all right?
I don't know how any member of the royal family is all right, since none of them appear to have bodyguards or doors.
But I feel this wedding is wrong.
What was your first clue, mister? Discount Star Wars Cantina.
Don't worry, Doe Eyes. One way or another, our past always finds us.
I'd argue that's a perfectly sensible thing to worry about, actually. Zoom and enhance cliche. And yes, I know this is the future, but that's one technological bridge I don't believe we'll ever master.
Okay, I promise. I'm here now.
Wasn't that toy just stabbed? Why is it still working? Why does he still have it? Why is he engaged? This light appears to be following him, but is it now not following him? Now it just looks like a normal wall light. This is the weirdest technology we've seen, and that's including the sandworm summoning sand thumpers.
What are you doing out here all alone?
Being as vulnerable as the plot needs him to be? Just a guess. Okay, everyone, we really want to show the sandworms again, but the Czech HBO wrote us, we'll only cover a second one if it's a 12-inch version in shitty resolution. Say less. We can work with that. Also, episode leaves me in brutal suspense wondering whether Desmond is pulling a Sand Jesus or Dune Jonah here. The bad news is that the marrying a 9-year-old thing didn't test well with the focus groups. The good news is that we've come up with a workaround that we think will be far less controversial. Also, you're telling me that in the royal f***ing palace, nobody heard a kid screaming bloody murder and came to investigate? The guards here don't suck. I'm assuming they don't f***ing exist. Why is the light following him again? How does it know? Don't make me wait until episode 6 to find out. I hate cliffhangers.
Life's not fair, is it? You see, I shall never be king.
Jerry, I'm trapped under my desk. Steinbrenner's in the room. You gotta help me.
Hammer time! And there is only one thing we say to death. Not today.
His story is true, Your Majesty. Or at least he believes it to be.
Then why wasn't I informed?
It's not a lie, if you believe it.
In the dark.
Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box?
You're a slave? I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.